Hi, I'm Hazel. It's Saturday again, which makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I've been up to, and answer some of your questions. This week, a hotfix went out that has made Venari reputation unlocks account-wide. You do need to log into your Venari rep holding character in order to activate this, but assuming that you have finished your Venari rep in at least one character, your alts can now purchase, conduit upgrades and sockets, as long as they have the Stygia for it. This is a fantastic quality of life upgrade for people that both have alts and also want to play them at a high level. Also this week, Blizzard has announced the Great Push, which is a new one-off Mythic Plus tournament, separate from the MDI, kind of different structure to it. There is a $20,000 USD prize pool, and the basic gist of it is that instead of trying to beat your opponent's time, you're just trying to push the key as high as you can within an overall time frame. This seems a little bit more fun to me to watch. I'm definitely very curious to see how high the keys go. I did look through some of the comment threads and replies in the news post and picked up two kind of initial community reactions to this. The first one being memes about the name, which honestly they were kind of asking for it with that. But then secondly, there's this sentiment going around that I'm a little confused by that says, keep esports out of WoW, which I don't get. I just don't understand it. I will grant that WoW is not necessarily the best game for esports. It wasn't really designed with esports in mind. But if people want to watch esports and people want to do esports, it doesn't really affect people that don't want it, right? Over the history of WoW, the scope has kind of widened and widened, and the game began to encompass more and more different things to do. And as that happened, you would occasionally get this sentiment popping up of, well, I don't want this part of the game, so it shouldn't exist and they shouldn't do it anymore. Like, people will assume just because they don't like something that then nobody likes it. And this kind of feels like another example of that. Like most other things in WoW, this is opt-in and not opt-out. I've also heard the conflicting narratives where on one hand people say, well, nobody's going to see this, it's just a waste of time and resources. And on the other hand, people say, well, everybody's going to see this, and then they're going to force the tournament meta onto people in LFG that are just trying to live their lives with off-meta specs. I personally have some doubts about both of those arguments, although it is true that the top end of WoW, like what top end players do, will tend to influence what people are looking for or expect within the greater WoW meta, but that's going to be true whether you do a tournament or not. You would have to just completely delete streaming services, and I feel like that ship has really sailed. One criticism of the event that I do share is that the $20,000 prize pool feels really small, especially relevant to the massive time investment that it asked for. The winning team of this event is going to get $8,000 of that $20K prize pool, and divided among 5 players, that's $1,600 each, before tax. For a first place tournament win, that is pretty far below par, and that has been a recurring problem in WoW esports for a long time. It's unfortunate, and at this point, I don't think it's really all that likely to change, and that's why you get so many top tier WoW players risking their competitive WoW careers to engage in boosting and real money trading. Of the two things, winning WoW tournaments and doing the boosting and stuff, both of them require an insane amount of time commitment, and then one of them provides a living wage. Next up, checking in on the donation progress towards Daisy for the Doctors Without Borders fundraiser. We are currently, as of recording, at $780,000 of $1 million raised. I will include the link down below for you to check on the progress or contribute if you can. And questions from this week. Klaus asks, are you still with the Razer Naga mouse? My wireless mouse broke. I'm looking for a replacement. So it has been approximately, give or take, about 8 years since I switched from a Razer Naga to a Logitech G600. And I have been using it ever since. I really like this thing. I wonder if I can get it in a shot. I really like this thing because it is wider than the Naga, and as somebody with relatively large hands, it's just more comfortable. I find that I claw grip this thing less, I'm more relaxed, and I have found them in my personal anecdotal experience to be more durable. I used to chew through about a new Razer mouse once a year, and I find that I get about 4 years out of these things. This is my second one that I'm on, and it seems in good shape still, so like 4 or 5 years of fair amount of use out of the Logitech G600s for me. They're also a little bit cheaper, so that's what I use, but it is definitely not wireless. Mimi asks, do you have your streaming schedule for UK times? I keep meaning to catch you, but I don't know what times or days it would be in the UK. So on my Twitch page, there is a schedule tab here, and that should be translated into local times for you. For European time zones, my weekend and Tuesday streams tend to be evening, whereas my Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays are kind of middle of the night, so a lot more of the EU folks find the weekend ones a little more EU friendly. Cthulhu asks, are there any resources that are helpful for someone trying to learn what item level you should be for pushing your Mythic Plus keys at, and also any guides and affixes as well? Helpful resources would be appreciated. So I did a little snooping around and I found an item level chart on Ask Mr. Robot that has some recommendations for item level for certain key levels. Of course, these are just guidelines. You can do them at whatever level you find yourself capable at, and you can get to item level kind of 190, 200 outside of keys just by upgrading Covenant gear and doing callings and world quests. As far as affix guides, Wowhead has a mega Mythic Plus page that has basically everything you could want to know about the format, but it also has a page on each affix as well as links to a guide for each dungeon with tips for each one in Mythic Plus specifically. So if you are struggling with a particular key, having a look through there may give you some ideas of stuff to work on. Some dungeons are just going to be much harder than other dungeons, particularly on certain weeks. Sanguine Depths on Tyrannical Week is almost always a hard pass for my groups. I know most people really don't like doing the third boss of Sanguine on Tyrannical if they can at all avoid it. And that has been my week. Thank you very much for watching. If you've got a question you would like me to answer in a news video, please leave it in the comments and include the word question to help me find it. Next week should hopefully be some toastier news with the 9.1 PTR hopefully getting underway. Stop by a stream if you like and have a wonderful, wonderful day.